Ladies and gentlemen, in the meantime, it's my pleasure to introduce a great group of guys back here. They are going to be taking you through the next 40 minutes or so with David Hayter at some point. It is the brilliant Supernerds.
Hello, Manchester. Hello. I'm gonna sit over here.
Hello, we are the Supernerds UK. You okay, guys? If I was giving you some free DVDs, I'd get a much better reaction. You can have Tim. Okay, my name is Ben.
I'm Ian.
And I'm Tim. Hello.
I'm Simon.
And I'm John.
And we basically host a pop culture podcast, which is like every 2 weeks on iTunes and various other internet things. Does anyone else listen to podcasts? Yes.
One.
We've got one subscriber.
Two.
Fantastic. How's everyone doing today? Are we okay? So we all come to see David Hayter?
Not us, yeah.
Yeah, you don't even know who we are. He's not here yet.
No. Yeah, he's just hiding in a stealth suit somewhere.
I think so. David?
No.
Hello?
No. I'm just overwhelmed by some of the cosplay here today.
Yeah, it's been a lot of awesome cosplay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, hello.
Yes.
Can you actually see us okay? Yeah. Yeah, cool.
That's a good thing if you can't.
Yeah. Did you feel quite bitter when you didn't get the Undersea Kingdom? You've dealt with that. You've dealt with that. Yeah. Okay. So what else have we got dressed up? We've got. I see Super Mario. Where's your moustache?
It's on Superman.
Yeah.
It's on Superman. Superman's got a moustache in the Justice League film. What's that about? Oh, fantastic. I think we're okay.
He's here.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives us an absolute great pleasure to introduce David Hayter.
Woo!
Hey!
Nice to meet you. I'm David and Tim. Nice to meet you. Hello. Have a seat. Take a seat.
Yeah. Okay.
I kept you waiting, huh? How are you, Manchester? Quiet.
Oh,
Nice.
just about woken up, I think. Yeah, still early.
Yes, it is. Well, nice to see you all. Thank you for having me.
How are
It's a
you?
pleasure.
I'm very well, thank you. Thrilled to be here.
So what have you been up to this morning then that kept you so fashionably late?
Oh, well, I was signing autographs and saying hello to the people and
All that good stuff?
I don't know. I got up. I'm still jet lagged, so I got up at 6:30 in the morning and I edited a script and did some work and caught up on the horrible news.
So you said edited the script. What are you editing, or are you on?
I am working. The one I was working on this morning is a show. I don't want to say what it is yet, but it's for E1 Canada, and they asked me if I would be a script supervisor on it, like a supervising producer.
Oh, okay.
So I got the draft, and I figured, well, I'm awake, so I might as well do some work.
Never stop.
Yeah.
So you've got quite the history as a screenwriter.
Yes, I'd like to think so.
I think you do. So was that what you started off in before acting, or did it all come together?
No, I started off as an actor. I was 9 years old when I did my first play in California, and no, I'd always intended to just be an actor, but I wasn't making enough money to survive. So I produced and starred in a little film called Burn in '98, and then I through a crazy series of events, I ended up writing the script for the first X-Men movie in 2000, and then I was a screenwriter.
And that was that?
That was that.
So X-Men, before I go on to anything else, I'd really like to grill you on some X-Men stuff.
Please, go for it.
How much freedom did you get when you were writing the X-Men script?
Very, very little.
Very little.
Well, I mean, it was a weird thing, you know. I was friends with the director, and I was hired to answer the phones. It's the craziest Hollywood story. And then he just started having me rewrite scenes, and so, I was, Bryan Singer would sort of tell me basically what he wanted. I would write what I wanted, and then I'd take a deluge of notes from the studio. But at the same time, it really came down to whatever Bryan want it. You know, if Brian liked it, then it was in. If he didn't, it was out.
So X-Men was basically the movie that started everything with regards to superhero films.
Yeah. Well, it was the first. It was the first comic book movie that wasn't Superman or Spider-Man or Batman. And the studio was very, very nervous about that. I mean, the movie Blade came out before,
right.
and that was a big hit that showed that you could do comic book movies outside of the big three, basically. But X-Men was even bigger and was certainly a bellwether of things to come. So,
did it surprise you that it was so big?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I was a big X-Men fan. I was a fan of the comic books, so I knew that it was cool, but nobody, the studio didn't know if it was going to work. We didn't know if it was going to work. Everybody thought it was going to be a disaster, really. And our first cut was 2 hours and 10 minutes long, so and we didn't have enough action to fill the movie, so we called it Woody Allen's X-Men. Because everybody was just talking, and then we cut it down to 94 minutes or whatever, and then it seemed to come alive.
Was there anything you really wanted to get into that script that was noted out, should we say?
Well, yeah, many things. I mean, mostly, we had the Danger Room at one point. We had Beast, but we couldn't afford Beast. At least we couldn't afford to have him do any action, so he was in many drafts of the script, but then he had to break his leg before the third act because, they go to the Statue of Liberty, and I had a whole sequence where he was like swinging through the interior of the statue and climbing to the top, and they were like, we can't afford that. And so I was like, well, what if we break his leg? And then after a while, we were like, that's just stupid.
There's no point now.
Yeah, it was like, it was in the Danger Room. It was a sequence in the Danger Room, and Magneto came in and like threw a locker at him and broke his leg, and it got cut. So it was probably best that it did.
Were there any characters that you wanted in there that couldn't get in?
They had pretty much decided what characters were in the movie before I started working on it. No, there wasn't anybody that I really wanted in that wasn't. But when I was a kid, we used to play X-Men, and I was always Cyclops. So I really wanted to make sure that Cyclops got his proper due, because he, typically when I'm not on an X-Men movie, he gets screwed.
He gets killed off screen.
Yeah, he gets killed off screen, and he just doesn't get the kind of respect that he deserves. And it's like, without Cyclops, the whole Wolverine thing doesn't work as well. You need somebody who's the leader, who follows the rules to bounce off of Wolverine. So
you can't be a rebel if you've got nothing to rebel against.
Exactly. So and it really creates that lovely love triangle between him and Jean and Wolverine. So
X-Men was a huge hit.
Yeah, it did all right.
Did really well. You still see people cosplaying as that version of those characters now. The comics even changed to reflect that with Grant Morrison's new X-Men. They copied the leather suits. And then you moved on to X-Men too.
Uh-huh.
How much of that was David Hayter, and how much of that was studio notes or other people? Was that,
well, that was a lot more of me, even than the first one. I'm trying to imitate Chris McQuarrie's voice. He was the writer before me, and a very good friend and a brilliant writer. He wrote Usual Suspects. The second one, and the first movie is all set up. It's all just, this is why they have the names that they do. This is why they have a jet. This is why, it's just all explanations of what mutants are. And so when we did the second one, I asked Brian, I said, we need to do all that setup again. He goes, no, we assume everybody's seen the first movie. We just hit the ground running. And so as soon as he said that, I wrote the opening sequence with Nightcrawler attacking the White House. And that stayed pretty much intact from the moment I wrote it. And so there was a lot more of my voice in it. And then also, Mike Doherty and Dan Harris, who came in. I was in Australia when they shot it, so they did the on-set work, and so there's a lot of them as well. But there's a lot of cool stuff that I was able to put in there, and I'm very, very proud of that movie. That's probably my favorite movie I ever worked on.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
That's a big achievement, I suppose.
I don't think I've ever said it before, so there's an exclusive for you. So.
The Nightcrawler scene in particular, I'm glad to hear that it was yours, because that was absolutely phenomenal.
I love that.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I mean, look, it was quite brilliantly written, of course, but but Bryan Singer directed the hell out of it. I mean, it was just the visuals and just the impact of that sequence is astounding, and a lot of that is Bryan and Alan Cumming and just and the effects people, and so many people really made it come to life.
So,
but one of the producers yelled at me and said, "You can't have a mutant attack the president. This is America." And I was like, "Well, I'm from Canada, so I can do whatever I want."
and if that was now, the mutants would get a round of applause.
Yeah, everybody would be thrilled that. I mean, yeah, if you don't attack the president, who will?
It'd be different to write X-Men in a post-Trump world.
Yeah, when the president's a mutant.
Well, you did get a post-Trump world, didn't we? We got Logan.
Yeah, true.
We had the wall, yeah.
I'll just be happy when we have a post-Trump world.
If we get there.
If we get there, we'll see.
Still hoping that we're all going to survive the next 4 years.
Yeah, we'll see.
Speaking of apocalyptic events, I believe you wrote the script for Watchmen.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, 9 years I worked on that.
Wow.
Movie, yeah.
Because Watchmen was known as being notoriously one of the most difficult comic to film translations.
Sure.
But also the closest to comic.
So how much of a struggle was writing Watchmen?
Well, I hate to say it. It wasn't that much of a struggle to write it. Yeah, it's complex and it's very, there's a lot to it, but it's not like Lord of the Rings. I mean, Lord of the Rings is 3 huge books. This was 12 comic books, and it wasn't that difficult to condense. What was difficult was protecting it from the 4 different studios we worked with, developing the movie. Nobody really got it, and I would have constant fights with the studios. Somebody once said, we don't. An executive said to me, "I don't understand the script," and I said, "Well, you do understand the script because your notes clearly indicate that you understand it. You're just afraid the audience won't understand it." And I'm here to tell you this is one of the most brilliant stories ever written. So it was really a matter of, it wasn't hard writing, it was hard protecting it. That was.
I read somewhere that your draft was set in modern day, was contemporary.
Well,
the first draft, was it?
Yeah, not the first draft. I think the first draft was set in the 80s, but along the way, one of the studios asked if we could set it in modern day, and I thought that was fair. So I figured we could tell the same story, and we could actually apply all the Vietnam stuff to, Iraq or Afghanistan or whatever war we were in at the time. But yeah, by the time I handed it over to Warner Brothers, it was set present day.
Were you happy with what turned out, what the finished film was?
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, my goal was always that it be a Watchmen adaptation. That it really would truly be from the pages of that book. I mean, I think Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons' vision was so astounding, and you when you adapt something, you say, okay, well, what works and what doesn't, and it's like it's all so mind-bogglingly brilliant as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, I was thrilled that we made a movie that really honored the book.
Because it was almost identical in some places, like certain scenes and background characters and everything. So
yeah, I almost wanted it to be more identical. I mean, because the brilliant thing about Watchmen, the book, to me, is that almost every sentence that's said in the book is counterpointed by a visual that is ironically commenting on what's being said. So I really wanted it to be spot on, beat for beat, and it's not always like that. But to have gone through the process and then ended up with something that wasn't totally bastardized was very gratifying.
And of course, you got incredible praise from Alan Moore. Apparently, your script was...
Yeah, that was very kind.
And Alan Moore doesn't like anything?
No, he does. Well, he doesn't like... What he doesn't like is Hollywood, and I don't blame him. It's a
tough place.
It's a tough place, and they're very tough, particularly on edgy, brilliant ideas. Yeah. And but I got his phone number from a reporter, and I just called him at home. And I said, look, I want you to understand. I know you don't like Hollywood, but I'm adapting your masterpiece. I want you to know how much I love it. And I want to give you the opportunity to have as much participation or as little participation as you like. But please know that my goal is to keep it as true to the book as possible. And I asked him if he wanted to be involved, and he said, "Oh no, David, the book was my story, and the movie's your story, and you just give me a call anytime you've got any questions." And so I would call him from time to time and say, "Alan, are you busy?" And he's like, "Oh no, I'm just baking muffins," and he couldn't have been lovelier. I mean, people are terrified of Alan, and rightfully so. He's an enormous, crazy person, but he was very, very respectful of me as a writer and very supportive. So I couldn't have been more grateful for that interaction.
That's fantastic. When you said bacon muffins, I imagine each one of them would be yellow with a little smiley face on.
I've spilt the jam.
Yeah, and I'm wondering what's in those muffins.
Bit of jam coming out the eye.
Space muffins.
Yeah, space muffins, David.
So, I'm going to get to Metal Gear. I know everyone wants me to get to Metal Gear.
I know. Metal Gear.
I'm just dragging it out. I'm just making you, stick around. I'm not playing the greatest hits too early, and then you'll all go, "Thank you, Bale." That's right. Just keep you stringing along.
That's right.
I want to do it, but I don't want to be disrespectful.
Oh, no, please. You can all do it.
It's just a box.
We're going to have a competition.
Just a box.
At the end, if anyone wants to do the Metal Gear impressions, we'll have Simon and John with a microphone, and David can judge who's the best.
Oh, God. You're all excellent, I'm sure.
I'm going to win. So, you wrote and directed a film called Wolves?
I did, yeah.
Starring Jason Momoa?
I did, yeah, Momo.
Momo!
Yeah.
Is that what his friends call him?
Yeah.
Just text him, "Momo, what's up?"
Yeah, what's up, Momo?
He's Aquaman now.
He's Aquaman now, and yeah, he is a riot. He called me "you little slut," which I don't. I'm a grown man in my 40s, and he's like, "What's up, you little slut?"
Truth hurts, man. Truth hurts.
It used to be true. It's not. I mean, it's not. It hasn't been true for.
You're a big slut now. Don't put yourself down.
I could be a pretty big slut, I suppose. And then one time, so we did a. You can see it on the internet. We did a panel at Comic Con for Wolves, and as I say, I'm a grown man. I'm 6'1", 185 pounds, and middle aged, and I introduced him, and he came out and he grabbed me by the waist and he went bam, 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 and like lifted me up into the air like I was a child, because he's enormous. He's 6'5" and about 250 pounds of muscle, and it was the weirdest thing. I was like, what the hell? I had never been tossed around like that. He's and then there's a scene in the movie where Lucas Till, who is our lead, who Jason outweighs by 100 pounds. Lucas has to run past him, and Jason went like this and swiped at him. And one time he caught him on his back, and tossed him. Across. He knocked him 10 feet, and Lucas was like, "Oh my God, Jason hit me," and I went flying. And I was like, "Oh, did he apologize?" He's like, "I don't think he noticed." He's just a madman, and but he's pretty awesome. He's a total pro.
Did you see what he did at Comic Con? This San Diego Comic Con.
I saw him run out with the trident.
That was awesome.
A little boy asked him if Superman was going to be in the new movie, the Justice League movie, and he goes, "I don't know if you know, but Superman's dead."
Spoilers, by the way.
The kid just looked like he was shocked, the poor little kid. But then you saw him later on getting his autograph.
Right.
And Jason Momoa just took him to one side and said, "He's alive, don't worry, mate."
Oh, good.
Really nice guy. Yeah.
He's the sweetest guy. I mean, he's just terrifying when you don't sit next to him while he eats, because it's like, it's monstrous. But he is the nicest man in the world.
How did Wolves come about?
It was a weird thing. It was really a long story. Somebody had asked me to do a werewolf movie, and I didn't want to do their werewolf movie, but I thought, well, I'll write my own werewolf movie, and I did. And
fair enough.
Of all the things I've worked on, that was the one that they finally put up the funding for, which was unfortunate because nobody ended up seeing it. But somebody just raised the money and said, "Here it is, go to Canada and make the movie." So we did.
What happened with no one seeing it? Because Lucas Till was in X-Men, and he's pretty.
I know. And Jason is so famous just from Game of Thrones.
After Game of Thrones as well.
It was not terribly well distributed, and we just didn't have a great I mean, I don't want to dog anybody. It just didn't have the release that I was hoping it would.
Is it available to purchase on streaming devices?
Yeah. I mean, I think you can find it.
Hey, look at that. You can go.
I think you can find it on iTunes or something. It's
Google Play. It'll be there.
Yeah, it's out there, but it just got no press and it got no real
Looks
release.
awesome.
So, thank you. Yeah, well, I don't know if it's awesome or not, but it was really a blast to make, and I love what Lucas did, and I really love what Jason did. I mean, he was such a rock star. He's got so much charisma, and he's such a pro. He was. He was shirtless in Canada. It was freezing, and he was just cool as cool. I mean, nothing shook him from being amazing.
See, that's all. He used to be on Baywatch as well. He's got that from them days. Him and Hasselhoff just.
Yeah, Baywatch. Well, he told me. I don't know if this is a secret or not. I guess he'll tell me if it was. But
we'll keep it all to
but
ourselves.
He went to audition for Baywatch. He was living in Hawaii, and it was Baywatch Hawaii, and he went to audition, and they said, "You don't have any resume." He was 18 years old, and he goes, "Oh, I was a model." And they said, "Oh, for who?" And he said, Calvin Klein, Hugo Boss, and all this stuff. He just made it up, and they were like, "Great, okay, well, we'll hire you." And he's bullshitted his way into it.
You just got to chance it, man.
Yeah, well, it also helps if you're a 6'5", spectacularly good-looking person. Yeah. I would assume.
I'd never get away with
No,
that.
I don't have that, but
I'm 5'4".
Don't think anybody says no to Jason Momoa, do they? Let's be honest.
I want to be in
I'm sorry,
Baywatch.
say that again.
I said I don't think anybody says no to Jason Momoa, do they?
No, it's not advisable. I can, as somebody who's been lifted into the air by him, I would say, treat that man with respect.
Maybe that's how he gets every part. He'll just go in and go, "I want to be Aquaman." "No, Jason, you can't be Aquaman." "I want to be Aquaman." Just wedgies them.
Yeah.
"I want to ride the Batmobile." "No, you can't ride the Batmobile, Jason."
Yeah. I doubt he'd fit in the Batmobile. I mean,
That's why he's sitting on the top.
the man is the Batmobile.
Yes. So, before we move on to Metal Gear, I'm getting there. I am getting there.
We're keeping you waiting.
Yes. I'm sorry, I'm not as good.
No, you're not.
I just sound like I've got a sore
nobody
throat. Nobody is, and that's right.
No, you say you're excellent.
Thank you. Can I ask about Guyver?
Yeah, of course.
yeah, guys.
I saw Guyver. Has anyone seen Guyver the Dark Hero?
Yeah, cool.
It's friggin'
This was a
awesome.
movie I did in 1993. It was based on an anime, and it was my first starring role. And I met my wife in it. She's one of the hot archaeology students.
Yes.
If you like Power Rangers, you'll like the Guyver.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very similar sort of Japanese style. It's a little more serious, and the fighting is amazing, and I'm really good.
So how did Guyver come about? Did you just
audition for it.
that was it? You told them you were an underwear model and
That's right.
walked right in?
I was like, yeah, I used to model for Calvin Klein. No, they. I had this really sketchy manager. I had just moved to Los Angeles. I'd been there a couple of years, and I had this crazy manager who used to borrow money off of me for cocaine, and which was weird because I didn't have any money or any cocaine, and I was like, I'm getting the raw end of this deal, and he just, I don't know how he heard about it. He just heard about this audition, and I went in, and Steve Wang was the director, and I found out later he hired me because I kind of looked like an anime character, the hair and the whole thing, and I had lived in Japan. I went to high school in Japan, so I knew anime better than most, and yeah, they just gave me the part, and so I immediately quit my bartending job and bought a car with all of the money that they had paid me, and I was like, well, what's the difference? I'm a movie star now. I mean, this will never end, but it ended abruptly after. After the movie was done, so
Was it a lot of fun to make it? And
it was
and you met your
amazing.
wife?
I met my wife. I got to, it was like my own personal. It was like being Batman or something, just like stunts, and everybody loved me, and everybody in the movie, I was the hero, and it was very, very.
Well, I remember
cool.
watching it as a kid and wondering why there was never another one. I didn't know there was a first one.
There was a first one. The first one is a little goofier and a very different tone. The reason there wasn't another one because the rights got all tangled up. I mean, it's one of those Hollywood things where somebody owned a piece of it here and somebody owned a piece of it here, and nobody got along with each other, and so we never did another one. But I actually just ran into Steve Wang not too long ago, and I said, "Look, I'd do it again if you want to do it again." And I was like, I could be the older Guyver and you bring in some new kid, and
So what do you call Netflix? Get this.
I know, right?
Miniseries.
So we're down to do it. I'm just not sure what the right situation is, but it seems like it's a no-brainer.
Sounds great.
Get Momo involved.
Get Momo involved.
You'll get it made like
Shake
that.
him down.
Yeah. I have to fight Momo. Would be.
So
something.
let's move on to your voice acting.
Let's do.
Before we get to Metal Gear, I am.
Even I'm frustrated.
You were in Spider-Man the animated series.
I was. I was Captain America. Here's my favorite line from Captain America was, "Come on, team, let's win one for democracy." Which is pretty much the most Captain America thing that's ever been said.
As applicable now as it was then.
Oh yeah, well yes.
Did you when you made Spider-Man? Was that like did you do it separately? Because we interviewed Spider-Man, Christopher Daniel.
Oh yeah, Chris.
And he said it was like a radio play. Sometimes they were all in the same room.
Yeah, no. They would line us all up, and it was amazing. I had just started doing voiceover, and then I got this amazing part, and so we'd all be lined up like this. We'd all be standing up. But Ed Asner was there as J. Jonah Jameson, and Paul Winfield was there. These are these amazing older actors, and they'd bring in these guest stars that were just astounding, and we'd all stand up and we'd do it, and it was just like a radio play. It was really, really cool.
Do you know that the original cast people, the original production team, are doing? Is it something of the War of the Rocket Men?
No, I didn't know that.
They're getting the band back together. And
Oh, cool.
give them a call.
I certainly will.
So Metal Gear Solid.
I'm not familiar with that. What? Colonel.
Been waiting for that. Just a box.
Nice.
Let's talk Metal Gear Solid.
Let's talk about it.
Where did that come from? And don't say Japan.
It did come from Japan, but I let me see. Where did it come from? Again, I just auditioned for it. Actually, I think it came from. I did an episode of Major Dad in '93 where I played a Russian. From that, I got cast as the Russian brother of the Russian Planeteer on Captain Planet.
Okay.
The casting director on that was Chris Zimmerman, who ended up directing all of the English language versions of Metal Gear. So there's some dispute as to whether she called me in randomly or whether Jennifer Hale told her to call me in. They both take credit for me getting the part. And I don't like to get in between the middle of that. So I just got called to audition for this thing, and I went in, and it was this weird little house in Hollywood, and on the walls were all the original, pencil artwork drawings that you see on the game and that you've seen a million times. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool, and so I auditioned, and then a couple days later, Jennifer Hale called me and said, she said, guess who's going to make some money? And I was like, is it me? Because I could really use some money. And it was me. And,
It was?
And I did make some money.
You could finally get a new car.
Not off the first one, but eventually, yeah.
That Guyver money was running dry.
The Guyver money was gone like that.
So I heard you're like one of the few people who have done voice artists for a video game and actually played the video game to the end.
True. Yeah, I played them all. I haven't finished Peace Walker, but I think there was something I couldn't figure out. But I played all of them, yeah. All the ones I'm in.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
All right, listen.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to go there.
I mean, whatever. You can go there if you like.
Do you want to go there?
I'll go anywhere.
Someone else will probably ask it.
Someone's going to ask in a minute
Yeah.
anyway. So,
That's fine, yeah.
do you want to save with them?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
What's your favourite Metal Gear game?
Phantom Pain? No, that's not true. That is not true.
Thank you.
I said that as a joke. But yeah, right? No, my favorite. Well, I love all the ones that I'm in, and I think Snake Eater is my favorite. It's such a beautiful game, and the whole retro feel of it is very, very cool. But I love, the first one, and 4 is amazing. 2 is a little baffling to me, but I still enjoy playing it.
You did the PSP ones as well?
Yeah.
PSP versions?
Yeah, Acid.
Yeah, Acid.
Metal Gear. Oh, I haven't played. I'm not in the first Acid. I'm in the second one, but I haven't played that
There's the
one.
one with the card as well.
Yeah, the cards I couldn't really
Yeah.
figure out.
I had
but,
to test that. It was good.
Oh yeah.
Nobody
I
had a
enjoyed that.
PSP though, so
Yeah. Oh, I did. They sent me. I think I had 4 PSPs. They just send them to me.
all right.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's
One for each game.
Not a bad job if you can get it.
Was there never any talk of doing a Metal Gear movie?
Yeah. Well, they're doing it now. I mean, well, yeah. And I pitched the script I pitched to write the script, I don't know, 9 years ago. And but there was a conflict between the producers, and so that version never really came together. But I think they're doing it now. The director of Skull Island is doing it. Jordan Voight Roberts. Yeah.
Has he got in touch with you? Have you had any?
Nope. Nobody's called me yet.
I'll tweet him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'll tweet him.
Well, you wouldn't
I'll
be the
tweet
first. I'm sure if he wanted to call me,
It just
he
seems
would do
baffling that you've got Snake, who is an actor, who is a voice actor, who wrote X-Men and Watchmen, and then not go in that direction. They probably could have got you on the cheap.
Oh, I doubt that. No,
Mates rates.
I'm not cheap. But yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me either.
Not at
we'll
all.
see.
No.
Look, I've been working in Hollywood so long. I have various relationships with people that keep coming back, and some people like me, and some people don't, and so you never know what the internal politics of it are.
You have to have pretty thick skin to live in Hollywood.
You have to have an extremely thick skin.
Yeah.
And and also when I was younger, I was a little wilder in the application of my art, whereas now I'm fairly easy to get along with. So.
Okay.
But I have threatened to kill a few studio executives.
Send them more to
Sneak up behind him,
Yeah, exactly.
drag him into the shadows.
You threaten them in Solid Snake's voice.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, wouldn't you?
Yeah. If I had that type of voice, obviously I haven't.
Well, that's a pretty good voice.
Can you do a Metal Gear impression here?
I don't want to empty the room.
It's okay.
Metal Gear.
Ah, good.
If you could pick anyone to play Snake in a movie from any time period, who would you pick and why? Obviously, excluding yourself because.
Oh,
you
okay.
are
Well, then
Snake.
you took my answer. But no. Well, for a long time they had talked about Hugh Jackman, who whom I know from his big break and all that. And he's such a lovely guy and such a striking movie star. I think he'd be pretty good.
He'd be all right.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell? You too old?
Oh my God. Well, yeah, he's
His younger days.
he's
maybe.
probably too old, and plus it would really point out that he was the real
The
Snake.
inspiration.
You know.
No, you're the real Snake.
Oh well,
He was the
that's
inspiration.
that's very kind of you. But actually, so you have the thing T-shirt. So I'm doing a TV show. I'm writing and producing a TV show that John Carpenter is directing the pilot for.
Wow.
So I'm working with John Carpenter now. And I'm sorry, I'm wrapping it up. And babies have no patience. So when I first met John Carpenter, I said, "So do you know Metal Gear?" And he goes, "Yeah, I know it." And I said, "Oh, I was the lead voice." And he goes, "Oh my God, you guys totally stole my character." And I was like, "I know we did." And he said, "No, when Kojima first proposed it, he got in touch with me and said, 'This is what I want to do.'" And I said it was okay, but he said I didn't make any money off of it, and I was like, really? I did really well. And
Slapped from John Carpenter.
yeah, no, he
He's a big gamer as well.
he's a big gamer, and then I was like, I was the lead voice, and he goes, "Not with that horrible growl." I was like, "Yeah." And so he makes fun of me mercilessly, but it's pretty cool because he's
Spending a lot of time with John Carpenter.
not a lot, but I've had a couple of very long meetings with
Have
him.
you been to see him live?
No, not yet. For my birthday, he gave me a pre-released album, like just on a blank disc that he had burned for me. So that was pretty cool.
Pretty good. That's where I got this.
Yeah, he's the best. I mean, I wrote out the outline for the show, and they loved it. And his wife Sandy, who's amazing, she goes, "It's just so nice. People don't write for the way John Carpenter makes movies." And I was like, I don't think I've ever written anything that wasn't for John Carpenter, so.
John Carpenter's X-Men would have been phenomenal.
Oh yeah. He's a.
Can you imagine those mutants?
Yeah, I know, right? Terrifying.
Does anybody have any questions or want to do any impressions for David?
Oh, we've got one.
Go. Go. We'll find some, Simon.
John, on the man.
I'm on the hunt.
Go on.
Here's one.
Well, I have a question, then a bad impression, which I apologise in advance for. I'm so sorry.
Fair enough.
Just
You're
out of
already
curiosity, what is the show that you're writing the outline for John Carpenter?
I can't say yet. We are taking it out to networks as soon as I get back. So hopefully it will be announced very, very, very soon. I apologize. All the writing stuff I do is always secret before it comes out.
No, it's all right. I've seen it in interviews where other people have asked you what you're working on. It's can't say, so sorry.
Yeah, no, I apologize.
No apologies. No, sorry. Yeah. And okay, again, sorry for this bad impression.
Kept you waiting, huh? Arakan, there's a crab here. It's terrifying. Crab battle. That
was good. Yeah.
You're pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Nice. Well done.
John?
How about this young lady here in the front?
Oh,
Si.
Oh, Ronan.
I think we've got one over there as well.
Oh, okay.
We've got one.
Sorry.
Yeah, we've got one up here first. We'll go with it.
If you could give like a piece of advice to someone playing Metal Gear Solid for the first time, what would it be?
Read the manual. Check the back of the CD case. It's so complex and it's so difficult to play, but I would say stick with it because it tends to be worth it.
There's a clue in the back of the CD case.
There's a clue in the back of the CD case. That's right. Which I knew because I had read the script. I also knew to switch my controller to the other thing.
Oh, Psychomantis.
Psychomantis.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm nervous. What's your third-person perspective of Snake?
What's my third-person perspective of him?
What's your opinion of Snake as a character?
Oh, okay. Well, he's pretty great. It's interesting because I play Snake and I play Big Boss, or Solid Snake was cloned from him. So while they sound similar, I always feel like Solid Snake got a really raw deal and really went through a lot of abuse and Meryl ended up marrying Johnny Sasaki and Snake ended up going to his ranch to die of advanced old age, and so but I think what I love about both characters is that they're extremely good at their jobs. They're legendary soldiers and they really know what they're doing, but he's always getting lied to by his superiors. The mission is never what he thinks it's going to be, and I love the sort of anti-war message that's woven into these war games, and I think that it's what I tried to do is bring some humanity to Snake that really makes you feel for him and makes you feel the message of what Kojima's trying to put out there. So personally, I'm very, very fond of both men, and I wish them well. Although I doubt that's going to carry any weight in terms of the actual lives of these people. If
John,
that makes any sense.
We've got a few guys over here. Si, do you want to go for that one?
Where's
your opinion on the way Konami is currently going with the Metal Gear series with Metal Gear Survive?
Well, I don't really know much about Metal Gear Survive. I haven't really seen what it is yet. But I mean, I hope it's good. I hope that they keep doing Metal Gear, and I hope that our legacy lives on. But I don't really know much about it. I mean, I know there was fan backlash, and I think it's interesting. People take it so personally, and people are so invested in these games emotionally that it's very difficult for them to to see anything done that's not done by Kojima, or sometimes when I'm not involved, people get upset or whatever, So I think Konami is in a tough place sometimes because they're trying to please a riled up group of emotionally invested people. So as a fan, I hope that it's good, and I hope that it continues on. But I can't comment on the game directly because I don't really know anything about it.
We've got time for one last question, if that's okay.
Sure. Just wondering, what's your favourite Metal Gear mech? Whether it's like Rex, Ray, or Shagohod?
Shagohod. Well, it's most fun to say Shagohod. The favorite mech. I don't know. I think one of my favorite sequences is in Metal Gear 4 where Ray fights Rex. I mean, that's pretty awesome. I mean, they're all pretty badass. I mean, that's
like a dream come true, that fight.
It was amazing. And I'm as much a fan as anybody else. So when that happened, I was fanboying out quite a bit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ben,
Okay.
I'd just like to say, sorry,
go on.
I just want to say, someone's just walked in and he's got a Solid Snake cosplay on.
Oh,
That's yes.
Come down.
He's at the top.
We can't see him.
And we've got a Meryl as well.
Look at
And a
this.
Meryl.
Meryl.
Look at that. Awesome.
Nice. Oh, original Snake.
Did he bring the box?
Hey, we can see you now. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very good.
Keep your head down. Oh, there's Liquid.
Oh, excellent.
And then we got
Liquid. There he is.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, no. Oh, wow.
Nice.
Hey, thank you very much, Solid Snake. Thank you.
Thank you.
That went south real quick, didn't it? I didn't. I was just like, come on, let's see your cosplay.
Did you like my sunglasses? I do a pretty good Liquid too.
Oh, he's cool.
What's up, brother?
Oh, man, thank you.
Brother. Shook hands.
Nice to meet you. You all look awesome. Well, thank you so much, Manchester. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me, and it's so nice to see you all.
Let's hear it. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Everybody say thank you to David Hayter.
I just want to give a solid thank you for listening to our show. Big thank you to MCM for having us on at the show live. It was fantastic. And for David Hayter for being there and being so brilliant. If you want to hear any more of our content, just go to our website, SuperNerdsUK.com. Also, I want to thank our sponsors, WebHostGB. Click on the link on the website to find out more. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.